Good morning, family. It's Shanine with simplyabetteringyou.com, and this week we've been talking about meal planning on a budget. And if you've watched my previous video, I came up with some budget-friendly recipes this week where I looked through my pantry and my fridge and my freezer and shopped from home first before making that trip to the grocery store. And now we're in that week, so I'm putting those things together. And I wanted to help you this week not only put some simple meals together, but also save you some time. So during a week that you have a lot going on, let's say you have soccer practice, you have dance lessons, you may have church on Wednesdays, and there's a lot of things going on, and you're like, how am I supposed to cook every day? I get home from work, it's late, I'm tired, and now I have to cook a meal. I'm here to help. So usually what I will do on a Saturday or Sunday, and in some cases on Monday, my week's a little different. So usually Mondays and Tuesdays are my days where I will actually pre-cook things. I know sometimes I'll do them on Saturdays and Sundays, but that's also a lot of our family days and getting things caught up and done through the week because my fiance works during the week and the girls go to school. So that's our family time. But regardless of what day of the week it is, you pick a day that works for you, some time that you have that you can sit down, and you're not just going to make one meal. You're going to make 2 meals, 3 meals, or maybe just make up the meals for the whole week. And that way, all you have to do is reheat meals, or maybe just throw something quick in the microwave or heat something up in a skillet. And that makes your evenings that much easier. You can have dinner done, hopefully before 7 o'clock, and baths and homework, kids to bed, and we start the day over again. So come with me. And I invite you to join me today as I go through my meal plan that I have set up, and I'm going to share some of those recipes with you. Okay, so what we're going to start with is the pork roast, and this is for the stuffed sweet potatoes that I'm going to make this week. It's a Southwest stuffed sweet potato. And we're going to get this in the crock pot and basically just let it cook all day. It'll take about 6 to 8 hours, but it's till it's tender and it's pulling away from the bone and easy to shred. So with this pork roast, I am going to add some of my homemade jerk seasoning, and I get this in the back of the cookbook I was telling you about in this week's video. It's Cook Once, Eat All Week by Casey Joy Garcia, and I will put a link in the description below so you guys can go check that book out. It's a wonderful book. Now, like I've said before, you flip through the book and you need to see what recipes are in there. She pretty much cooks like Whole30, cuts out a lot of the pasta and the bread, but you can absolutely substitute pasta in where she's removed it and used like some type of vegetable, or maybe she's done something like almond flour instead of regular all-purpose flour. You can change that stuff up. Just like with any recipe, you know, you can change it to the way that works for you and your family. So, but this seasoning is in the back. It's a jerk seasoning, and I make it up in large quantities and keep it in just a glass jar. And that way I have it when I need it. It's also a great taco seasoning. All right, come on, little guy. All right. I am cooking this with the fat cap side up. That way, as it cooks, the fat it keeps it juicy and moist, and it cooks down into the meat and around the meat, and it just, for me, it just tastes better. So I put about a 1/3 cup of water in there just at the bottom, and we're going to put this on low for 6 to 8 hours and let it cook. And we just set it, forget it, and walk away from it. Okay guys, this is the cookbook I'm talking about. It's Cook Once, Eat All Week. And she sets it up by week. So this is like week 16, and she has some of the ingredient pictures over here. But these are your weekly ingredients. And she breaks it down to fresh produce, meat, dairy, seasoning, and things that you should have in your pantry. You know, if not, stock up. And then she actually gives you the ingredient substitutions you can do if you're a paleo or dairy-free diet or egg-free diet. And then this particular week, which I'm not on, but we have done it in the past, she breaks down each thing into what you're going to cook. She tells you how to cook it, when to cook it, and then when you're going to use it, and assemble your recipes. And then the recipes follow behind the prep work. So green pork chili, which is amazing. She has like a pineapple pizza in here, and y'all don't knock pineapple pizza. Pineapple pizza with barbecue sauce and chicken is amazing. A Caribbean plantain bowls, awesome. If you haven't tried a plantain, go and get yourself a plantain. It is an amazing potato substitute. I can't eat potatoes. I am allergic to regular potatoes, and I can eat them, but it causes extreme pain. So I have to decide how bad I want that French fry. But I can eat sweet potatoes, thank you, Lord. And I've tried things like yucca root and cassava root. We've done the cauliflower thing, and we finally broke down and tried mashing plantains, and it is amazing. And you can also deep fry them. Oh my gosh, it's like eating a French fry. It is amazing, and it's not sweet like a regular banana. Even though, you know, both are like the banana family, completely different. So I wish I had one at home, I'd show you. But goes great with pork, it goes great with chicken. Lifesaver. So let's jump into chili. So I've got my pork going, but now I'm going to start working on the ingredients for my chili, and I'm going to get all those thrown in my Dutch oven and have that going on the stove. And that's actually what we're going to eat tonight, and we'll have that with our cornbread I made the other night to go with homemade sloppy joes. So I was finishing up my week from last week, and I had everything I needed to make for homemade sloppy joes, but I didn't have it to go with, and we didn't have like a loaf of bread or buns or anything. So I made double the batch of cornbread so that I would have cornbread already made for my chili. So I've already taken care of one thing I was going to make this week. So I'm ahead. But let's get into this chili. So my chili has actually gotten easier and easier over the years. I used to make this really complicated chili with all these incredibly intense flavors, and I put the dark chocolate in it, and I mean, I went above and beyond for my chili, and it was amazing. Everybody loved my chili, but it took forever to make. So chili wasn't something easy that I could just throw together for dinner. So I needed to simplify it. And the kids eat it, they still love it, it still tastes great, but I can get it done twice as fast. And I'm trying to watch my thumb. I was making English muffins, and I sliced one open yesterday, and I sliced right into my thumb. Of course, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, so I may not have been quite awake yet. Now guys, I am not a trained chef, I'm not a gourmet chef, I am just a regular mom that makes meals for her family. Self-taught, I read cookbooks, I lift off of the Food Network. Oh my gosh, I love the Food Network. And my grandmother. My grandmother is who gave me the start in the kitchen. Maybe get my compost bowl over here. My grandmother is who gave me my start in the kitchen. She, she's who taught me the love of cooking and the love that you share with your family when you make them a meal. So basically what I add to my chili is green peppers, onions. Doesn't matter what kind of onions or peppers. You add what you like. We don't do a spicy chili. I've got little ones, and then myself, I'm not able to do spicy food. But you can add pretty much anything to your chili. I've done black beans, kidney beans, corn. You can do, the roasted tomatoes, can of tomatoes, homegrown tomatoes. It is completely up to you. I think that's going to be plenty of peppers. I'm not making a huge amount of chili because I don't have enough tomatoes to really make a big batch of it. So peppers won't go to waste. My little one eats them and she just loves them. We're also going to work on making the pasta salad for this week. So we'll have pasta salad to go with salmon patties, which the salmon patties will be later in the week, because what I am trying to do is, one, use up the food that I've already cooked. So the cornbread, we don't want that to get all moldy and yucky. And trying to use up the produce and things that I have purchased from the store, so my produce doesn't go bad during the week. One thing I have learned since we've moved here from Ohio to Florida is that my produce goes bad twice as fast. Before, I could keep potatoes and onions for a pretty decent amount of time. It was like the potatoes never went bad. And here, you have to use them up and use them up fast. So I don't buy them until I'm using them that week. Same thing with lettuce, cilantro, celery, common things that we buy. Even my citrus, my lemons and limes, they go bad really fast. So I only buy what I am using that week, because we were throwing away tons of produce and I was getting so aggravated with the amount of money I was wasting with throwing stuff away. I hate to waste food, especially since it costs so much right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and saute my my onions and my peppers, and then get my tomatoes added to it afterwards. So what I'm working with, I usually use 2 cans of diced tomatoes and maybe throw a little bit of tomato sauce in it, but I don't have that this week, so I'm going to use what I have. I have a can of diced tomatoes, I have a can of tomato sauce, and I have tomato paste that I'm going to use up. So I used a can of tomato paste earlier this weekend for the sloppy joes, and I'm going to use up the leftovers. I am also now realizing that I forgot to buy garlic. How can you have chili without garlic? So, garlic powder to the rescue. We're going to use what we have. I'm not making another trip to the grocery store. I've already done it. So we're going to use what we have. Be resourceful. And if you have to leave an ingredient out here and there, unless it's the main part, just do it. Just do it. You know, you never know. You might like it better that way than the original way it was meant to be made. So we're going to get these going, get them sauteed. Cooking them up here. Now the reason I'm starting this so early in the day is that what I have found is the longer chili cooks, the better it tastes. It really tastes better the second day, kind of like cold spaghetti. But so I'm starting this earlier in the morning. I mean, it's like onions and the peppers going. We're going to saute those. take those out of the Dutch oven, throw in the hamburger, get the hamburger cooked up, put the vegetables back in, and then add all of our tomatoes and water and the excess of the chili ingredients. Now some people add their own chili seasoning and some people buy packets. You can use either or, doesn't matter. I'm going to be adding my own seasoning. So grab things like onion powder, chili powder, you can use cayenne, ground cumin. Oh, let's see here. I add just a little smidge of sugar to mine. Kind of helps with the acidity of the tomatoes, brightens them up a little bit. I don't want it too spicy, but just a little bit of heat. Let me get this in. Also, today, since I have the pork going and I'm going to make the Southwestern stuffed sweet potatoes tomorrow, I am going to cook the potatoes today. So I'll go ahead and prep my sweet potatoes and get those in and cooked. And then I'm going to scoop out the insides. I'll get everything pre-mixed. And then tomorrow I will just throw them in the ovens, heat them until they're warm. So probably about 15-20 minutes, and then I'll add some cheese on top and they'll be good to go. So, another really quick tip for meal planning during the week. When you meal plan, set all your meat out in the fridge. Put all your meat out in the fridge at the beginning of the week. So Saturday or Sunday, pull it all out frozen, put it in a container and stick it in the fridge to start thawing. So I put all my meat out on Sunday and it is now Tuesday and all my meat is thawed. It's still cold. It's not turning colors. It's still good. And I'm cooking up the meat now. That takes care of that problem of getting home from work and going, I forgot to thaw the meat. I didn't put the meat out. Now I have nothing to cook for dinner. Do it ahead of time. Do it as you're thinking about it. Don't try to remember to do it later. So plan your meal, decide what you're going to do, go to the grocery store, get everything that you need, and put that meat in the fridge to start thawing, especially if it's frozen. Now, all my meat that I get comes from ButcherBox, so it absolutely comes frozen. And when I get it, I usually transfer it directly to the freezer unless I know I'm going to start cooking something that night or the next day. And then as I'm making my meal plans, then I start pulling meat out and putting it in the fridge. Get yourself one of these little plastic containers. You've got these from Amazon in like a set of 2, and they go up to like 4 and 6. But I designated a shelf in the fridge for meat. It's thawing meat. And the reason I put it in a container is that usually it leaks somewhere. Whether it collects water or, you know, there's a hole in the package I can't see, it never fails. And you get tired of cleaning up all the blood and just the yuck from the meat in your fridge. So if it's in a container, you just have to take out the container. It can go in the dishwasher or you can just wash it in the sink. Get some salt added to that. Now, as I'm going through this, guys, I'm sorry, I don't have a recipe for this. I don't have it measured out. Maybe someday I will get it written down. I am a little bit of this, little bit of that, put a little bit, a smidgen, a dash, it just whatever looks right, tastes right, and I just taste it as I'm going. You know, when you cook something over and over again, you get an idea of how much you need. I would not do this with baking, but just my everyday recipes that I know and that I make multiple times, that is just where I am with it. So right now I've got some salt, a little bit of garlic, need to add some pepper to this, which I think we're getting low. Which I am so happy that we are running out of this pepper. I want to pick up a peppercorn mill, and I'm trying to get through the rest of this pepper first before I go and do that. Is browned and ready to go. This is a very lean beef. There is not a lot of grease in this at all, so I don't drain it. We're ready to add our tomatoes. Okay guys, so I've got my chili in, and it's now, I'm going to cover it up, and it's going to sit and simmer for about 4 hours. So we'll let it do its thing. And I just periodically check on it and stir it up. But other than that, I have 2 meals going. So I have our chili for tonight, we've got our cornbread done, and then as soon as this pork is done, I will shred it. Now, depending on what my evening looks like, because I don't know what it's going to look like yet until the kids come home, sometimes that's just mom life, I am going to either shred this tonight, which would be ideal because it's warm and easier to shred, or I put it in the fridge and I shred it up tomorrow, which is a little tougher, but I've got a quick and easy trick to help you with that as well. So I'll see you guys here in a few. Hey y'all, I wanted to jump back in here real quick and kind of give you an update. Today has turned into a kitchen day. So I am making those carrot cake energy balls, or protein balls, power balls, whatever you want to call them. Wanted to show you guys how easy these are to throw together. Okay, so what I have in here is some carrots, dates, raisins, cashews, cinnamon, and nutmeg. And we're going to blend them all together. And I have the recipe for this, so I'll link it in the description down below. Okay, what you're wanting to do, turn my microphone around here. What you're wanting to do is blend this until it's a consistency that you can actually roll into a ball. So something that has, and all the ingredients are dry, but as it mixes, it's going to get a little bit of moisture and it'll clump together. I think I'm going to give this one more whirl. That tastes good. Y'all, don't stick your hand in here and cut yourself. The blades are awfully sharp. I'm just trying to check to see if we're at a good point where we can form these. Yeah. So, now obviously the balls are going to be bigger, but it's sticky enough that it sticks together. And then you're going to roll them in some finely shredded coconut. They call it desiccated coconut. But roll it in some coconut, or you can roll it in powdered sugar. You can roll it in cinnamon, or whatever you want to do. You can leave them as is and just eat them. But honestly, tastes like carrot cake. I couldn't help it, I had to taste some. So, real quick and easy to make. You can get all the ingredients, throw them in there, just blend them up. You want them to the consistency that they're small enough that you can squish and combine them together. And then you roll them in some coconut and pop them in the fridge. After they have cooled, you want to put them in an airtight container. And I wish I could say they last more than a week, but I don't know, because usually within 3 days they're gone. But they should last in the fridge for at least a week. But all right. Now when you're rolling these, if you don't want your hands to turn orange, you might want to put some gloves on. My kitchen is a hot mess. I'm making some room. All I've done is cook and cook all day. And really, I think sometimes that is the best way to meal plan, or just plan your meals ahead. That way you're not so bogged down about all the craziness that happens during the week, and you have meals in the fridge or the freezer you can just pull out and throw in the oven or put in a pan on top of the stove and cook up real quick. And it takes all that stress off of you after you've come home from work and you're trying to figure out what to make, and I didn't thaw the meat, and I don't have this ingredient, and oh, we might as well just order pizza. And if you're trying to save money, I mean, that just destroys your plan. Every time I have tried to save money, it has always been the groceries and the meal planning and the eating out and stuff like that that has either made it successful or contributed to my failure in the process. So definitely take a day and cook. Take 2 days and cook. If you can't, give it an entire day, split it up, but get yourself ahead. And it just takes maybe 20 or 30 minutes just to get all your ingredients out and start banging out some meals. In the afternoons, we come home and cook, and it takes us about 20 to 30 minutes to throw something together. Well, if you're throwing a lot of somethings together, you're still only going to spend about 20 or 30 minutes. You're chopping things up, you're putting them in pans and in crock pots and getting them going. You just have to, honestly, you have to want to do it. You have to want to say, I want the time with my family. I want the time after work to rest. I want quick and easy meal that I can sit at the table with my family and it doesn't take up all of our evenings. You have to want it. And when you want it, all of a sudden, it becomes doable and it becomes pretty easy. All right, guys, let's talk parchment paper. This is your best friend. Absolutely your best friend. When you are baking and when you are cooking, get away from the aluminum foil. This works just as well. All right, so obviously you can't put this on a grill. Grilling is something entirely different, but you can put these at the bottom of your baking pans. Makes things easier to lift out. You can cook cookies on these. You can put anything on this, salmon, you can make a little pouch out of it. It is most definitely versatile and usable, and they are great at lining the bottom of pans for easy, quick cleanup. So this is where I'm going to put my coconut balls. Just kind of squish them together. You can make them big or small. I got little people, so we'll make them bite-sized. Oh, I forgot my coconut. Can't forget the coconut. Now the finer the coconut is shredded, the more it'll stick. And this is unsweetened coconut. So the dates are sweet. The carrots have a sweetness to them. We don't want to add a whole bunch of unnecessary sugar to it. So, unsweetened coconut. All right, guys, there you have it. It's easy, it's simple, definitely affordable, and it's something you can plan ahead of time. You can even pop these in the freezer. So I'm going to finish rolling these up and get these stored in the fridge for the girls this week, and then here in probably, I think I've got another 4 hours before my pork's done. So I'll be back and we'll go over shredding the pork and making up our stuffed sweet potatoes. So my pork is finally done, and what I'm doing is shredding it up. I'm removing any big clumps of fat, and I've already removed the big bone that was in it. So I'm shredding it up real quick here, And then because I have run out of time, I am actually going to go ahead and put this in the fridge for the night and assemble my sweet potatoes tomorrow. But a real quick tip, it's so much easier to shred when it's warm, so definitely don't put that off. But if you have to, remove the fat and remove the bones, and then you can stick this in a safe bowl that you can run an electric mixer in, and the electric mixer will tear right through that bad boy and shred your meat for you really quick. Hey guys, I wanted to jump in here real quick. The day, of course, has gotten away from me, and I'm actually on day 2. So my fiance had picked up some sweet potatoes, and I probably should have told him what I was going to use them for. I did not, so this is on me. But he picked me up some huge sweet potatoes, and there is no way I'm going to be able to bake these and use them for the Southwest stuffed sweet potatoes that I wanted to do. So, change of plans. I'm going to cut these up and actually mash them, and I'm going to layer these in a casserole dish instead, kind of like a shepherd's pie. Now, this is something I have decided to do on a whim. This is not a recipe. This is me trying to make do with what we have versus going back to the store and rebuying sweet potatoes that'll work. I don't want to spend the extra money. Definitely don't want to waste the extra time. I have what I need, but I just need to revamp the recipe a little bit. So I was thinking, hey, I have vegetables, I have meat, I have something like mashed potatoes. I bet we can do something like a shepherd's pie. Now, I went ahead and mashed up the sweet potatoes and put them in a casserole, and I layered it. So I put a can of corn and a can of black beans on top, and I did rinse and drain the black beans, and I drained the corn. But this also, I'm just trying to put things together that I have, so I was trying to think of that Southwestern vibe and what was going to work right, taste right. So I'm kind of winging it. I did put this recipe together. I baked it in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, put some cheese on top, and broiled it for like the last 5 minutes. It did come out really well, but I really think that I should have done this backwards and put the pulled pork on the bottom, then the corn and the black beans with the sweet potatoes on top. But for what I had and for what I was doing at the last minute, it actually turned out really well. And now I have another great recipe, a quick recipe, simple and affordable, that I can add to my recipe book. And there you go. I mean, even though this was like an oh no moment and a little inconvenient, we made it work. So guys, thank you for joining me this week. Thank you for planning meals with me this week. I really hope you enjoyed this. And as always, I love you guys, and I bless you on your journeys.